Let's turn money mistakes into valuable lessons. In this video, I want to share with you my major financial regrets that became the part of my financial education. And first regret I really have for myself is my very first salary I accepted as it was given to me without any negotiation. And yes, guilty. I feel like I had to do the better job there, but that was the reason why I actually was so much hesitant to do any bold move and start negotiating my final compensation. That was me just 1.5 years moved to Germany, not finished with my master degree education and searching for my first job. I literally didn't have a clue how much money I have to ask, and back in 2016 I wasn't that proficient with YouTubers and asking some questions to ChatGPT or finding some pay range in the internet. I was just guessing and assuming how much money I have to ask for this specific role, because literally no one could suggest me or give me any hint how much is the adequate number to ask for your first job. And looking backwards, I understand that I done a mistake, but actually that was a good point as well, because I got my job right after I graduated master program here in Germany, and the next day, quite literally, I moved to Berlin and started already working as the full-time employee. That allowed me to be financially stable and allowed myself actually to settle down in new country, because without that job I wasn't really sure if I had the right to stay in country or I have to go back to my home place. That was my way of learning the lesson, money lesson about the salary. And actually next time I was already searching for another job, I definitely done the research. I knew how much money it costs for me to live in Berlin. I knew how much I want to do the increase in my paycheck, annual paycheck. So that's why the next job application was way easier for me. But if you are searching for your first job, just do enough research and find out how much you really need to ask for the total compensation for you in this role, and also try to have at least one step forward and try to at least check if there is any room for negotiation, or you need to take what it's given and later on progress with your final paycheck as you are maturing as a professional. Another money lesson actually also teach me a lot. Once I received my very first salary, that was the net income 1,600 euro or something around that amount of money, I was shocked, because for me, with my immigrant background, I have never seen this amount of money just be given to me in one chunk for my months of the work. I was surprised, positively surprised about that. That's how much my expectations was low back at the time from my salary in general. But I understood that if I would not track where my money goes, I would actually lose the track of reality and might even turn myself broke just because of spending more than I earn. So that's why I started urgently searching for the way how I can track my money, and I started from very basic one. I started tracking all the money flows in my notes on my phone, and there were the temporary note. So when the month was over, I was deleting that note and starting from all over again. Later on in progressing to some template that I reused every single month, and only after maybe a year or so I started putting all the numbers into the spreadsheet, and only then I had a really clear picture of my money flows, not from one month to another, but from year to year, seeing clearly my financial patterns, where I tend to spend more, when I tend to save more. And that actually was the learning and my way to understanding how I can track my money and how I can leverage this knowledge. And that failure at the beginning was actually the part of the learning. Now I know that you need to keep your data where your money goes on the permanent files that you can access from different devices, and you can actually reflect back on the multiple data you have as an entrance in your datasheet, because that would give you even better control and better understanding of your money flows. And as your capital is growing, as more you can observe how your financial templates are changing. So that's why it's a key. Have your permanent data sheet somewhere on the quick access, and just collect all the data throughout the months and the years, and you would thank yourself later, because you would definitely see how your lifestyle is changing depending on the financial situation you have in your life. The following financial regret that I have in my mind is searching for a cheap apartment. And that might sound controversial, but indeed I realized on my own personal experience that renting an apartment is the part of the investment game. Because when I was searching for this apartment, that was relatively in the middle. It wasn't too cheap, it wasn't too expensive, and it was right in the range that I allowed myself for the budget allocation, pay for the rent per month. But I haven't taken into account that my financial situation would change gradually, and I also didn't assume that I would live in the same apartment more than 8 years already. So that's why if back the time I would choose a bit more expensive apartment, maybe with better setup that I would like to have right now, I would actually reserved this spot with the better conditions. It was slightly higher price, but because of my income would grow gradually throughout the years, it actually would become cheap anyway comparing to the level of life I have, like financial income. So that's why when you are searching for an apartment, of course it's never guaranteed where you are going to stay for a while, or where you are going to stay just for a year and then move on to another place. But renting apartment as your long-term investment actually helps you to do the right financial decision and to find a sweet spot, paying enough for you right now, with the assumption that later on, as longer you keep this apartment, the cheaper it would be in correlation to your increased income. Right now, it doesn't really make sense for me to change my apartment just because I would pay 2, 3 or even 4 times more than I pay right now. It's not that financially good decision, so that's why I'm staying in here. But I wish I had a bit more long-term perspective vision for my apartment, and I would search for something more prominent than I have right now. But I do like my apartment, and I really make it cozy, and really it's the part of me, part of my life. But if I could change something, I would search for some other opportunities, a bit expensive, but for the long-term perspective. Another financial regret that I really have, it's not starting my YouTube channel earlier, because the other day I was searching for some papers in my folders, and I found some notebook where I had some notes about how to start your YouTube channel that were dated back in 2015, when YouTube was just something really fresh. I was so inspired about creating some video content. I think since my childhood I always have some interest in video content, but I never allowed myself to explore that with the stuff I had back the time. I had a phone, so I could literally sit down and record some video. I actually did one video, but then my study program took over and I didn't have much time to proceed with this hobby. And only after 5 years I started my first YouTube channel in 2020. That was also pretty successful. It was developing through years. But I think it's never too late to start something new. So that's why I actually started this new channel to discuss the financial education together with you here. And one more financial regret I have, it's not starting investing into my portfolio early enough. I just got into this topic in 2020. That was some random video of the YouTube blogger I was following, and she was speaking about some brokers and some wallets where you can allocate some budget for the for purchasing some stocks. And that's how I started thinking and started talking to the boyfriend I had at the time, and we started discussing and actually exploring this area by ourselves, like just watching some YouTube videos, and started doing our first move, again doing some mistakes, learning some lessons. By now I have already my solid approach how I treat my investment portfolio, and if I would have started that earlier, of course that would be way more years of the personal experience in building my investment portfolio portfolio by myself. But I'm happy that I started it at least in 2020, and throughout these 5 years I have already got the profit of around 1,000 euro. It's in total. Some of the stocks I lost, some of the stocks got some profit on top. I still keep it all in my investment portfolio, so I would pay the taxes on this capital gain only when I sell these stocks. But let me talk about my investment strategy in the separate video. In this video I just wanted to share with you that I'm really regretting I haven't started that before, but I'm happy I started that, and now I'm sharing my whole experience with you. So maybe that would be a trigger point for some of you to start your investment experience today. Because as they say, the best timing to start your investment was yesterday, and another best timing to start your investment is today. So I hope that would be the day for someone of you to start your investment. And with that said, I want to wish you the money lessons that would teach you a lot and that would progress you into more financial freedom that we are all aiming for. And let's see each other on my next episodes. Take care and see you very soon. Bye bye.